What if I told you the real unemployment rate in America isn't 4%? What if it's 22.52%? This isn't a conspiracy theory. If this was a conspiracy theory, the thumbnail would have my picture with a tinfoil hat on it. This isn't speculation. This comes directly from government data. And that's why this number makes people uncomfortable. This all started with a simple question. I asked a computer, how many people of working age are there in America? Simple question. And it came up with the answer: as of late 2025 census, there's 22.3 million Americans between the ages of 15 and 64. All right, not a problem. Good, get someplace. That's our working age population. Now, I went through, and the response was based on the Bureau of Labor Statistics employment figures, say 164.5 million people have jobs. Wait a minute now. So let's do something radical. Let's subtract 212.3 million working age people minus 164.5 million employed people, and that leaves 47.8 million Americans of working age who do not have jobs. Straight up, that's it. And when you turn that into a percentage, that's 22.52%. Let that sink in a minute. 22.5%. Now here's where history matters, at least history class matters. In school, many of us are taught something very specific about unemployment. Above 15% unemployment, that's a recession. Had one of those in the 80s, it wasn't fun. Kind of like now. Above 25%, that's depression. That's very not good. Not one of my recent memory, but there's this thing called the Great Depression. You know, you might have heard of it. Those were the definitions used during the Great Depression, based on broad labor participation, not select categories. By those historical standards, we are not in a mild slowdown. We are in a severe recession, edging dangerous close to a depression-level conditions. Now, defenders of the current system will immediately say, well, some people aren't counted because they're disabled. Okay, fair enough. We were taught that roughly 4% in the same English class, history classes and economics classes before, roughly 4% of the population is unable to work due to disability. Even if we suspect that number generously, we're still left with 18% unemployment. 18. That's not strong economy. That's not booming. That's not historic growth. That is millions of people sidelined. So how do we get from 22% to the official 4%? Simple. We change the definition. Modern unemployment only counts people that are actively looking for work, receiving unemployment, still participating in the labor forces as defined by current models, whatever the hell that means. If you stop looking, you disappear from the statistics. If you're unemployed, underemployed, you're counted as employed. That was yeah, but it's still, those statistics I gave were without jobs, not partially or fully employed, those with 0 jobs. If you're working 2 hours a week, you're still classified as employed. But again, that would put you on the numb and still wouldn't affect our 22%. This isn't lying, it's framing, and framing shapes public opinion. I'm not saying that to cause fear. I'm saying this because real solutions require real numbers. You cannot fix what you refuse to measure honestly. Leadership should be based on facts and information, not emotions, not narrations, and not temper tantrums. If you want to move forward as a society, we need transparency. We need multiple unemployment metrics presented side by side. We need to stop pretending that a narrow definition represents the lived reality of tens of millions of Americans. The number is 22.52%. You don't have to like it, but you should understand it. And truth in reporting in all forms is what I'm all about. So remember, Scott for 2028.